Father Simon and the Divine Deliverers of Absolution. This is Neil's confession. Wednesday night confession here. Gather round. This story, I think it's a PG anyway. This story starts on the other side of the globe in Australia in the mid-1990s when I met Fiona. She was a medical student at Aberdeen University, and I was about to embark on a professional training in the profession of personnel management. We were both young, free and single when we met in Alice Springs, and we just hit it off. Although our itineraries didn't allow for much time together, just a couple of evenings enjoying the local amber nectar. After some fun times, we exchanged contact details and we went our separate ways. Back in the UK and starting my studies at Stockport Business School, it wasn't too long before I decided to give Fiona a call in Aberdeen. Well, one thing led to another, and a long-distance relationship developed, and Fridays were characterised by either me or Fiona jumping on the train to visit each other. The relationship continued to blossom, and we both graduated successfully from our studies. I think it was about this time I sent Fiona some flowers and followed up with a visit and a night out to celebrate. I seem to recall a black tie ball, one where you would take a camera, and at some point over the weekend I decided it would be a great idea to use Fiona's camera to take a photo of myself, a selfie in today's parlance, wearing only the large pretty pink bow from the bouquet of flowers.
No. Oh dear.
How funny it would be, I thought, when Fiona collected the photos from the chemist, I don't know, ask your parents, as she perused through photos of the celebrations to find, at the end, a random one of me, her pin-up Englishman. What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong?
The next time Fiona visited, it was at my parents' house. And knowing that my mum would be keen to see the photos of the black tie ball, Fiona took out our special photo and put it in a separate envelope to ensure it was for our eyes only. This envelope plays a big part in the story, and I'll return to it in a moment. Now that we had graduated, we needed to face finding a real job in the real world. With Fiona having junior doctor placements lined up in Scotland, well, there was a suitable job for me being advertised at the council in Aberdeen, where Fiona's mother worked. She very kindly did a lot of the groundwork for my application, even writing the covering letter and addressing the envelope. All I had to do was to sign the letter and enclose a copy of my CV. Now, this was a very kind thing for Fiona's mother to do. I think it was particularly altruistic, but mainly driven by the fact she didn't want Fiona to be tempted south of the border and away from her beloved Scotland. However, what I didn't realise was that the application envelope was the same envelope we had used to keep our private special photograph in a very safe place for safekeeping. Consequently, my application contained a letter, a reasonable CV, and a very impressive photograph.
He says.
To make matters worse, Fiona's mother hand-delivered the application to her boss and put in a good word for me because she hadn't realised that the photo was in there. Father Simon, I don't seek forgiveness from Fiona as things didn't work out between us. I do want to apologise to those who opened my application and got much more than a CV to demonstrate my credentials. Needless to say, I didn't even get an interview, let alone the job. Most of all, I seek forgiveness from Fiona's mum, who had the indignity of being called in to her boss's office, being handed the envelope back and being told that no more would be said about the matter. Isn't that an amazing kind of classic British thing to do? P.S. I saw Fiona's mum again after the incident. Nothing was ever mentioned.
Oh, no.
Well, let that be a warning to you, Neil. You know, you take a rogue photograph, you never know where it's going to end up. And nice period reference there to going to the chemist to picking up the photographs. Anyway, yes, Joe.
Gosh, how times have changed. How times have changed. This is, I mean, totally forgiven because this is not his fault. He was taking a photograph as a little bit of a prank, as a joke. The only thing I have issue with is him saying the impressive photograph, obviously trying to impress, doth protest too much, I think, trying to build up his own part. So
As it were.
that's a little bit dodgy, yeah. But otherwise, yeah, forgiven, because this is just a very funny story. I'm kind of sad that things didn't work out, because that would have been something, an enduring memory, or a bond between him and his mother-in-law. But obviously, that was not to be. But forgiven.
I just love the fact that no one has said anything. We're just not going to mention it. Sister Bobby.
I love this. It was such a lovely romantic story. You go to Alice Springs in the 90s with its neighbours and home and away time. So kind of Australia's still quite new to people there. So well done for getting away. So you've done Alice Springs, Stockport and Scotland. You've gone through all that and you break up. That is very sad. The only thing I'm not really impressed about, Neil, is you took a picture of yourself and you decided that's what Fiona needed.
Good point.
You didn't. It's not something she asked for. You went, look, have this with a bow tie on it. I don't think she did need it, but I think also it could have been a deal breaker, a really good deal breaker, because to the right kind of boss, they might have laughed at that and thought that was very funny and thought you were their kind of person.
True.
I don't know what job that is that you're their
Do we
kind
know
of
if
person
did Fiona ever see the photograph again? Once it was handed in the envelope, I just think it was posted to the guy for the job.
Her mum kept it because it went back to her mum, didn't it? She got called in and the envelope was passed back, but the mum kept the envelope.
She kept it.
Anyway, didn't work out, did it?
That could have taken the story in a whole
And the
different...
long-winded way round, you're not forgiven, Neil. You shouldn't take photos like that when people don't ask.